All right, welcome back to our KDKA studios, and thanks for tuning in to the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. I'm Rich Walsh in for Bob Pompiani tonight, who is on vacation, and we got a lot to talk about, big things to talk about, and we'll start with the Major League Baseball draft. The Pirates did not disappoint. They went with one of the LSU guys, the best pitcher on the board, Paul Skeens, as a Pittsburgh Pirate, and we have an all-star crew to talk about it with tonight. Andrew Fillipponi from The Fan, Jeff Hathhorn from The Fan, and Chris Adamski from The Trib. And so let's get right into it. Guys, they were super secretive about this. Like, I wasn't expecting to get one of the two LSU guys, but I love the pick. They got a guy that can throw 103, and we might see up here pretty soon, Pony.
Well, Cherington said that they're not going to shut him down, which was music to my ears. This team needs a breath of fresh air. I mean, they've limped to the All-Star break. All the goodwill that they had built up from April has been washed away. There's questions about the way they've handled Henry Davis. I mean, this franchise needed a shot in the arm. And when you hear them breaking down this pick on ESPN, and Chris Burke says the other outfielders are all-stars, this is a guy you build a statue of. Yeah, right. I want to stand up right now and hug you, Richie. I'm so excited about this pick.
We all have Bucko fever tonight.
I mean, 103, there is not a pitcher, Garrett Cole, Justin Verlander, you name it, in Major League Baseball who pitches or throws as hard as this guy.
And we heard that's not even his best pitch. They said his breaking ball is his best pitch.
Gets more swings and misses.
Yeah, the slider's supposed to be amazing. Here's the thing, too. He throws at 98, averages 98 miles an hour, and only had 20 walks in 122 innings. And, 209 strikeouts? And that's a crazy number to be able to throw that hard with that type of control.
In the SEC.
And that's the thing is these live arms you hear all the time. How many prospects are there that throw whatever, maybe not 103, but throw hard and they don't have control, they don't have another pitch like that. That's the most impressive part to me and why it made him such a special prospect. We could talk at 103 all day, but if that's all we had, and if you couldn't control, couldn't harness it, didn't have the command of it, then that would be a lot more. This whole draft, it started out all the way up until maybe, spring. Dylan Cruz. Then it became a two-horse race. And then the last couple of weeks, we've heard a lot about the high school guys and Langford, too, the five-guy race. I'm just happy, I think. Maybe I'm naive, Richie. Maybe I'm naive. I actually believe the Pirates. I believe Ben Cherington when they say he was the top guy on their board. There's no manipulation here with the slot and things like that, which again, I am okay with. That 2021 draft was really masterful by them to do what they did to get the 4 to 5 guys in the top 100. And if they did that route, that's okay. I think at some point, though, if you have the generational talent, whether it was Cruz or Paul Skeens, you take it. And I think they took the best guy on the board.
So why were they so secretive? They had the first pick. What?
I don't know why, but MLB had to have loved it. Because look at all the
national
chatter.
guys had it wrong.
But look at all the chatter that's been around MLB draft, which normally gets very little chatter in a grand scope because no one knew what they were going to pick and how that was going to affect other guys. And the Scott Boras factor, it became news. I'm not saying that's exactly why they did it. I'll take them at their word that they waited till the last minute and make sure they had every piece of information.
I have a conspiracy theory.
Go ahead. I want to hear it.
And do not turn your TV set off, okay? I think Nutting got involved. I think they went to him today, and I think it was very much in play that they were going to draft an underslot guy and use the same formula that they did in the Henry Davis draft. And I think the owner said to them, don't worry about plan B and trying to get 3 guys in quantity over quality. I want you to take the best player. And then I think when he gave Ben Cherington and his team that message, they pivoted from, well, is this guy at 8 more valuable than this guy at 10 million? And I think they just picked who was their number one player on the board.
I'm glad you brought that up because that was going to be one of my questions here tonight. Were they worried about fan support, Jeff? I mean,
I think they were. I think it's a PR
did that
pick
happen?
Too.
I would hope not. Because
you heard a lot of fans say, I'm done if they don't pick one of these LSU guys.
Because if you're a GM monitoring your picks based on what the fan support is, you're going to lose.
No, I'm saying I think the owner said just take the best player.
No, but to Richie's question, I mean, did they worry about
Well, I think one of the reasons why the owner said take the best player is because they were, okay, if Ben said to him at noon today, we're going to go with Clark and spread the money around. I could see the owner saying, no, don't overthink this.
And here's the
Simplify
thing.
it.
I think there is a kind of you could say what you want about Bob Nutting, say what you want about the Pirates and the spending and habits, and some of it's fair, and some of it, but this is a situation where they have a finite number, set dollar amount that they were going to spend every dollar.
$16 million.
No matter what, yes. And it was going to be whether it was most on the first pick, however they split it up. It wasn't, if they would have taken one of Clark, it wouldn't have been because they're too cheap or they were saving money, saving Bob Nutting's money or the organizational money. They would have spent other places. Now, you could sit here and say, what's the better? And I'm not going to pretend here I've scouted these guys or I know who's the better player or not. But it seemed like Paul Skeens when you hear more and more about him, even across the industry, I think he was the highest, both the highest upside and the closest to the majors of anybody in the draft.
When you get back into money, there's no way in the world the Pirates would be able to afford a pitcher like Paul Skeens on the free agent market, ever. Not in the way that they budget right now. There's
The way I think money factors into this is, with Dylan Cruz, because of his agent, number one, his demand was going to be high, but he had no alternative. He wasn't going to go back to school or go play over in Korea or something.
Yeah.
But when his contract is up, you're going to have to outbid the other 29 teams in baseball if you want to keep him, because he's going into free agency. So I think that's where the money comes into it.
But
Second contract, Skeens might sign an extension with them. That's not out of the question. Pitchers get locked up because they're worried about arm problems, Jeff.
But I was thinking about when I had the question about fan support. I mean, I understand they have a set amount of dollars, Jeff, but I mean, I don't think fans want to hear that you're going to spend less on the first pick and then we're going to spend more on a guy that we never heard of.
But they are going to spend all the money.
Third
I think that's important to distinguish,
yes.
as Chris mentioned. It's not like they're going to pocket that money. They're going to spend all that money. But I think, here's the thing to me, is Cherington said they were done with the sell-offs. They were done with the fire sales, that they were going to add now. And picking a high school player, I think, to me, tells you, okay, maybe they're a few more years
Correct.
away
I agree with
than
that.
they are with Skeens.
That's what you're talking about, Richie, the PR part of it.
Yeah.
If they took Max Clark, we would have a revolution on our hands right now. Because fans would be like, we've never seen this guy play. He got compared on the MLB website to Brian Bullington. Oh, my God. And best case scenario, he's 3 years, more likely 4 years away. Right. You've already tested the patience of your fans so much. I don't think you could have sold them that bill of goods in this draft.
Okay, with this guy, is he almost major league ready? Is he a Steven Strasburg? Can we see him next year? Is there that chance? Chris?
I feel like next year is probably the target. I think, as much as, they talked about it, even the fact that he'll pitch this year at some level in the minors, it'll be interesting to see where he starts. If he starts at Double-A or, maybe not this low-A, or I don't know if we get the Triple-A, maybe a cup of coffee at Triple-A in September, and then they'll probably, wink, wink, nunda, he needs a couple things to work on, even 2 weeks into next season, so the clock, at least in the free agency, not the Super 2, but the free agency goes another year. And I think it's definitely feasible. We'll see health-wise, we'll see how, things work, but I think it's feasible, and probably the most likely projection is 2024 at some point that he's in Pittsburgh.
Well, I think Henry Davis was going to be fast-tracked faster than he was, but this broken hand, the hand injuries, him getting hit by pitches slowed that progression down, or he may have been up last year. I think depending on when he signs and if he can get work in the minors this year, if he does, I think 2024 opening day rotation is an option for Paul Skeens.
Wow.
I think he'll be one of their 5 best pitchers, but I tend to agree with Chris. I think we'll see Paul Skeens June 2024.
Yeah, I kind of
When
agree.
we first see him really in the rotation, he'll open the season at AAA. They'll do what Chris said. He's got to work on his changeup. Oh, and then he's there for
4 pitches aren't enough.
And then he's there for 10 starts. I'm telling you, that first start is going to be a magical one. I think it's going to have Garrett Cole vibes about it when this guy makes his Pirates debut.
Although arbitration is different now, you don't have a certain date. It's kind of this thing they do after the season,
right.
So it's not as obvious as it was before. I understand what you guys are saying. I think he's got an opportunity because look at what the rotation is right now.
Yeah, I mean, they need him. All right, I'm just glad we all have Bucko fever here tonight. We got to take a break, and we're going to talk about the Pirates and what they need to do in the second half of the season. That's all coming up next. Stay right there.
Number 1 Cochran Sports Showdown is brought to you by Number 1 Cochran. Go one better.